In our first episode, I was homeless and had just spent the night in a bleak and unfamiliar city at the Metaverse Motel. An alluring young hybrid named Aquanet and her monkey father Darwin ran the place. He was named after his patron Saint Charles, Aquanet told me, and they were from Monkey Town, around 2 days away by train, down south on the coast, she said. Her mother was a tiny, shy, kind, and caring retired human prostitute with Denisovan ancestry, who tragically died when Darwin ripped off her face during an animated discussion about money, gender, and politics. They married when she was very young, only a little innocent child, and he got her a job at a brothel when she was barely 14, because that is what monkeys do, Aquanet explained. A barely literate and sympathetic dirty Democratic judge with poor grammar and a criminal history gave Darwin 30 days suspended and 3 hours of mandatory anger management classes. After that, Darwin set up a phony modeling company and started luring a string of pretty, young, innocent, naive, and financially insecure girls into bed with promises of fame and fortune. And then he pimped them out. Darwin himself gave many of them some of the worst STDs a monkey can carry. My dad even gave me the clap, Aquanet said. It's what monkeys do, she whispered, almost apologetically. Many of those unfortunate girls ended up hooked on drugs, insane, sick, or in a morgue by their 30s. But Darwin had that animal magnetism the girls liked when he was young. Pungent, musty, and take charge, you know. Primitive, down and dirty. He taught them how to take it monkey rough and learn how to like it. And they just kept showing up like a moth to a flame. As the years passed, though, Darwin mellowed and began hooking up with wealthy old single bipolar lonely half-baked crazy cat ladies. They were often retired, barely alive, and delusional, from all walks of life. And honestly, Aquanet said, those kinds of ladies love their simians. This is Betty. She was an insecure, award-winning actress, pretty when she was young, but never very bright. This lady's late husband made a fortune selling diamonds. And this one was a rich man's rebellious daughter. This little old lady was once an innocent celibate nun with latent carnal desires and longings who enjoyed Darwin's unconventional, erotic proclivities. He's quite an acrobat, she once said bashfully. But Darwin's monkey mojo had waned of late, Aquanet told me. So he began hooking up with poor, desperate, and kyphotic, struggling old coffin dodgers with denture breath and no one to love. Simian gigolos and incoherent old ladies, I thought. It was all a revelation to me and conjured up some especially disturbing images that hung on for a few days. You know, she said, monkeys have sure come a long way, haven't they? They certainly have, Aquanet, I whispered. They certainly have. Monkey Town, she said then, was settled in the 1950s by followers of the great primate prophet, Dr. Don Amici. In 1945, the story goes, scientists at the University of Wisconsin-Madison discovered that monkeys on average are about as smart as 5-year-old human beings. So that means, of course, that some monkeys can become politicians, school teachers, ministers, athletes, drill instructors, singers, physical therapists, coaches, philosophers, university professors, and whatever else they want, if only they can learn to walk fairly upright, somewhat control their spontaneous impulses to constantly grab their own genitalia or rape anybody, young or old, in sight, and most importantly, to speak and behave like a minimally coherent and civilized Eurocentric human being. So then Dr. Amici eventually had a son named Bonzo, Aquanet explained, and Bonzo cracked the language barrier with a method called hope, and he eventually gave hope to his twin sons, Billy Bob and Johnny Ray. After his death, Bonzo became a canonized simian, a monkey saint, and he is now worshipped all over Monkey Town. They are the Bonzoians, and they use harmonicas to transcend their monkey minds. They're a diverse bunch of primates, white, yellow, red, brown, and black, but they're all true believers in hope. Bonzo Amici, I thought. Aquanet, I said. Billy Bob Amici gave me hope. What a tiny world, I mused, and in that moment I instantly relived my whole Billy Bob story, a treasured memory tucked away in a remote region of my old and cluttered mind. And then, while it was there right in front of my mind's eye, I told my new young friend Aquanet how it all happened. According to the American Lung Association, Americans today begin to suffocate at around age 35. They say the common diatonic harp can be good medicine, and for some it is literally the gift of life. Hospitals around the country are developing harmonica therapy programs. Why not, they say? It's convenient, inexpensive, and so simple a monkey can learn to do it. But not all us monkeys are created equal, and this is a story of a primate who wanted more. My grandfather was the late Dr. Don Amici, who in 1945, along with his colleagues at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, proved without a doubt that monkeys are as smart as 5-year-olds. He eventually earned a degree in elementary education and a doctorate with honors in educational psychology. He married a beautiful girl, and their son, my father Bonzo Amici, became a child movie star. Later, he was an astronaut. He was the first monkey to be fitted for a G-suit. During World War II, fighter pilots wore a special device that looked like a corset that applied pressure to their diaphragms. This device would become known as a G-suit, and it helped my father learn to speak like a human. My dad was a religious man who believed in the teachings of his monkey god that the solar plexus is a doorway to transcendence. But it was man and his science that introduced him to the governor. The governor is located at the center of the epigastric triangle. When you press your finger against it during phonation, which means creating the sounds that become speech and language, you can feel the bulge like a tense little drumhead. The G-suit brought my father's governor to life when one day a fellow astronaut gave him a diatonic harp. My father developed a system that combines G-suit principles and the diatonic harmonica, and then he taught my mother. They both eventually taught me, but they kept their language capacity a secret, fearing back then they would be dissected. Today we monkeys are free to speak and live our lives with almost all the rights and freedoms of our fully human brothers. Now I teach other monkeys how to awaken their capacity to breathe and speak without effort. It's so easy, even old monkeys, like this one, can learn.
Capuzzoni